What's up everybody, I'm HoopsandHipHop. So one of the best things about the Pokemon franchise, and one of the reasons why it's still around today, is that it's done such a great job of maintaining the quality of its games over the 20 plus years it's been around. From Generation 1 to presumably Generation 8, every single main series Pokemon game has been fantastic, and even though they're not perfect, they are still pretty dang good, hence why we're still playing them. However, due to the success of the main series Pokemon games, it has spawned a ton of spin-off games across Nintendo's various consoles, and while some of them are great, some of them are not. In today's video, we're going to be going over 5 Pokemon games that should have never been made. Now, obviously this is going to be a touchy subject, so I'm going to go over a few ground rules before we get into the video. Number 1, I'm not necessarily saying that I want less Pokemon games and I wish these never happened at all. I am instead saying with each individual pick that I wish something different would have happened, or I wish another hypothetical title would have replaced this one, just different things like that, instead of outright saying that I would rather not have this Pokemon game exist than have this Pokemon game exist, because, I mean, the more Pokemon the better, obviously. The second thing I'm going to say here is that this is all based on opinion. If you have played one of these games and you have fond memories with it, more power to you. I'm not taking anything away from your experience. This is just kind of a fun rambling video to incite some discussion and basically talk about maybe the lesser quality side of Pokemon, if you will. With all that being said though, we have some interesting and possibly controversial opinions to talk about here, so for better or for worse, let's just go ahead and get into it. Okay, so we are going to kick this video off with what is probably going to be the most controversial pick on the list, and that would be Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. Now, I can already hear your guys' keyboards typing away, but allow me to explain myself a little bit. I do not hate Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon as games. I think they are pretty good games overall. However, the one huge problem with them I have is that they are way too similar to their predecessors, Pokemon Sun and Moon. Pokemon Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, much like other generations before them, are the enhanced version of the base game that was introduced in their generation, that being Sun and Moon, similar to that of Crystal, Emerald, Platinum, etc. However, when it comes to comparing Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon to those other previous enhanced versions I just mentioned, I don't know about you guys, but playing through Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, it felt way more similar to the base games than say Platinum did, or Crystal did, or Emerald did, for instance. If I had to take an estimated guess, I would say about 80% of Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon is the exact same as Sun and Moon, and maybe even 85%, because the changes to the game that happen for the most part, come in the very late portions of the story. However, when compared to the Emeralds and the Platinums of the world, even though they are very similar to their base games, obviously, I think they did the whole enhanced game thing in a different sort of way. So for example, with Platinum, Emerald, and Crystal, they made changes to the story that happened throughout the game, so even though you were dealing with the same region and the same characters and the same Pokemon, you were seeing different things unfold as the game went along, whereas with Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, the changes came in the form of added content, and this added content did not happen until late in the game. So like I said, you're literally playing through the whole game of Sun and Moon essentially until you get to the very end, and that's when the changes come about, which is really frustrating as a player. And that leads me to the big reason why I don't think Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon should have been made, because they should have just took all of that stuff that they added to Sun and Moon and just put it in Sun and Moon originally and just gave us a really dang good game right off the bat. This is also the reason why I can single out Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon specifically and not just have to talk about all of the enhanced games as a whole, because with the other enhanced games, you can't really add in the different story details into the base games, because obviously you can only have one story plot, whereas with Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, basically everything that they changed about Sun and Moon could be added into Sun and Moon without really changing the plot too much, and that's why I kind of would just rather have liked to have seen Sun and Moon basically be Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon from the start, instead of splitting it up into 2 parts basically. Okay, so moving away from the main series and the bigger titles, we're now going to look at spin-offs, and the first spin-off we're going to look at is Pokemon Channel. Now, with Pokemon Channel, we have to use the term Pokemon game loosely, because this is more of a DVD than a game, because all you do in this game is watch TV. You'll basically get a TV from Professor Oak at the start of the game, and you watch different programs on the TV, which is highlighted by a special exclusive anime episode that can only be watched through this game, in addition to some local cable TV type of content that isn't even really a TV show, it's just kind of a funny little awkward skit. And that's pretty much it. That's pretty much all you do throughout the game. There isn't really any gameplay to speak of, for instance. Now, the reason why I say this game shouldn't have been made is because it shouldn't have been made as a game. It should have been made as a DVD. You could very, very easily put this game almost unedited at all onto a DVD as one of those interactive DVD games that happened in the mid-2000s, and it would have worked perfectly. And that way, you would have had more budget to put an actual Pokemon game on GameCube. Even if it was on the cheaper side of things, it would have been a game that you actually pressed buttons and used a controller for, so I just don't really see what their purpose was behind this. Up next is another console Pokemon game, and that would be Pokemon Battle Revolution. Now, I have some real legitimate issues with Pokemon Battle Revolution, but it's not like I would like to see it wiped off the face of the earth or anything. I would just prefer it to have taken a different form and be a better game, which it had the potential to be. My first major problem with the game is that it was developed by Genius Sonority, the same exact people that developed the Pokemon Coliseum and XD Gale of Darkness games. Both of these games clearly were phenomenal, and they released on the Nintendo GameCube, which was only a generation before Pokemon Battle Revolution came out on the Wii. So due to the success of those games, Genius Sonority really easily could have added a third installment to this series on the next-gen Nintendo Wii console, and people would have ate it up, and it would have just added to this really cool spin-off series that we had developing in the early to mid-2000s. However, instead of doing this, which seemed like the obvious and smart choice, they kinda decided to bring back Pokemon Stadium, which isn't a bad idea at all in and of itself, except they kind of botched that too, because Pokemon Battle Revolution is basically a super watered down version of Pokemon Stadium, despite being on a console that's 2 generations ahead of the Nintendo 64. Yeah, ouch. However, even though the battle gameplay of Pokemon Battle Revolution is similar to Pokemon Stadium, the one thing that's not similar in terms of gameplay is that this game has no minigames whatsoever to speak of, even though it's clearly trying to play like Pokemon Stadium. And as we all know, or at least if you've played Pokemon Stadium you would know, the minigames make up basically half the enjoyment of the game, if not more. Those mini-games that we had in Pokemon Stadium 1 and 2 were not only fun, but they just had such a charm to them, to the point where you would go to Pokemon Stadium just to play the mini-games, and that's definitely what I did more often than not. So not only could this game not be the Pokemon Stadium successor that we've wanted for so long, but it could not even be the third entry in the Coliseum series that it so very easily could have been, having the same developer, which basically leaves the game really without a purpose and just doesn't leave it doing very much for the franchise at all. Coming up at number 4 on our list, I suspect is going to be the next most controversial title, and that would be Hey You Pikachu. Now, Hey You Pikachu has grown a bit of a cult following over the last couple years, and rightfully so, because it's a very funny game. However, its meme value that it's gained in the past couple of years is really all it has going for it. If you have ever played Hey You Pikachu, especially back in the day when it was first released as a younger child, you would know that this game is extremely frustrating. Now, going back to my disclaimer that I talked about earlier, I'm not saying here that I wish Hey You Pikachu never existed, because it's clearly a treasure. However, the bulk of the reason why we still talk about this game today is that, like I said earlier, it's basically become a meme, and all of the value that this game has in this day and age is the meme potential that it has, and that is not a lie, because I would like to honestly ask anyone watching this video, can you say you have any fond memories that don't involve frustration or anger towards this game? Like, can anyone who has played this game recall a time where they just genuinely had a good time actually playing the game and not getting frustrated at it or having it not work or anything like that? Like, I don't know a single person who actually played this game without some sort of malfunction or frustration, and when it comes to video games, that's pretty much the worst possible outcome you can have. And finally, I've saved the best for last because we have what is probably the worst offender on this list, and is probably the only one that I would be completely fine if it never existed at all, and that would be My Pokemon Ranch. If you've never heard of My Pokemon Ranch, basically what the game is a WiiWare title that you bought digitally on your Nintendo Wii, and it basically acts like a Pokemon bank where you take Pokemon from your actual main series games and put it into this game, and from there you can actually interact with your Pokemon in fully rendered 3D with one of your Mii characters. However, there are a lot of problems with this concept, even though it sounds okay on the surface. The first problem with this game is that in order to actually use it the way it was intended, you have to have either Pokemon Diamond, Pearl, or Platinum, and those are the only games that this game will work with. It won't work with Black and White, it won't work with Black 2 and White 2, it won't work with Heart Gold and Soul Silver, it won't work with anything except Diamond, Pearl, or Platinum. On top of that, you are only able to transfer Pokemon from My Pokemon Ranch back to your main series game if you are using the exact same file that it was transferred from initially. So, unlike normal Pokemon box systems that are very useful for transferring Pokemon over, deleting your file so you can start a new one, and then getting all of your hard-earned Pokemon back, nope, you can't do that. You can only transfer from the save file that the Pokemon originally came from, so good luck trying to get all of those shinies even though you want to start a new game, because My Pokemon Ranch is just not going to allow that. And finally, as if that wasn't bad enough, everything about the look and feel of this game just feels like it was made on Microsoft Paint. Like, I already talked about the 3D models that don't look great, but look at this cover for the game. This literally looks like a 12-year-old kid made it in Microsoft Paint, and the game itself, in terms of the graphics and the art style, really looks like it was made in Microsoft Paint Game Studio Simulator 2002. Like, I just don't know what they were going for with this game. I just think they were trying to put out something really cheap and throw the Pokemon name onto it that would allow them to make money. And oh, by the way, that kind of theory just gains a little bit more traction when you consider that the main pull of this game is that you can get a Mew in it if you transfer 1,000 Pokemon from your main series game over to My Pokemon Ranch. And back in the day when this game came out, that definitely would have been the main selling point, so I kinda am inclined to believe that this was just basically a quick cash grab. They developed this game with as little of a budget and as little of effort as possible, and just attached an obtainable Mew to it in order to make a quick buck. And in the video game industry, there is no greater sin ever. And there we have it, everybody. Now, I want to reiterate what I mentioned in the intro, and that's that I do not wish that any of these games never existed, or I wish that they would just poof out of existence, except for maybe My Pokemon Ranch, because obviously any Pokemon game is a welcome Pokemon game. I just wanted to highlight these as ones that could have done a little bit better, and I just kind of wish would have done things differently. If you guys enjoyed the video though, be sure to give it a like, and as I'm sure this is going to incite a lot of discussion, please leave your thoughts and opinions in the comments below. If you agree or disagree, that's totally fine, it doesn't matter. Just let's have some civil, honest discussion about what we just talked about here. If you're new to the channel though, be sure to subscribe for way more Pokemon content every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. And I am proud to announce that the Spotify giveaway that I've been talking about forever is finally underway. Yes, we hit the 6,000 listener goal, and I want to say thank you so much to everyone that has followed. If you haven't followed me yet on Spotify, please go do so. You can check out my Pokemon remixes, but with the goal hit, that means that we are officially going to do the Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee giveaway. The way this is going to work is that I have a post set up on Twitter that's basically the main key to this giveaway. All you have to do to enter is go onto Twitter, give me a follow on Twitter, go to the post, which will be the pinned post on my page, and give that post a like and a retweet, and that will automatically enter you to win either a copy of Let's Go Pikachu or a copy of Let's Go Eevee. I'm going to give one copy of each away, and you have until October 31st to do so, because on November 1st, I'm going to pick 2 random winners. So if you want to take part in all this, definitely go follow the link to my Twitter in the description below and give me a follow, give the tweet a like and a retweet, and you'll be good to go. With all of that being said though, I will be back on Tuesday for another video, so be sure to hit that notification bell so you can know as soon as it goes live. And until then, as always, I love you all, and I will smell you guys later.